listening. Let's see who is here today. Arif Sheikh says hello. Hello, Arif. How are you? Got the old Les Paul Marshall thing going on today. Little bit of the slapback echo. You can hear that. Kind of just helps, give it a little bit of depth and space without, getting like too swampy or anything. So I've just got the clone. There's actually a clone in front of the amp, hitting it a bit harder. So yeah, and you can see it. That's kind of. So without it, that's like the most gain you'd get. Let's pop that on, and it doesn't really change the sound that much. It just gives it a bit more oomph, or it just slices through a little better. So then if you want to get that slightly low gain thing, you just back the volume off. How's it sounding there? Is it clear? Is the picture clear? I thought I'd do this a day early because tomorrow is Christmas, so I will be busy with the family and everything. So I had the evening off today, so let me do a YouTube live today. My test for a good distortion sound is always like how well it cleans up. So even if you've got that much gain, and you just have to roll down the volume and clean it up from the guitar. So very rarely do I have to actually reach over to the amp or, hit a pedal or something. I just leave the pedal on. So let me play something else. This is an old Cream song. Let's see if we can. That's a fun one to play. It's called Politician. Nice, cool lyrics also. It's always the asshole politicians that we love to hate. The clone is kind of like boosting the amp like the SD9 would, but the sound is quite different. It's got a similar amount of low end. It doesn't really cut the low end, but it's got a little bit more of a mid-range presence. The SD9 is kind of, it doesn't push the mids as much, which then means you kind of get like then you can actually turn the guitar up if you want to. But it's kind of got more of this gnarly low mid thing that comes in, and then there's like this clarity right on the top. But in terms of like the high mids, the clone's got a little bit more of that. The thing is, when you're going into an already driving amp, then you kind of just notice minor differences in the overall EQ. So you're kind of pushing different frequencies into distortion faster than others. That's like the main difference. So you may not really hear, a big major difference once the amp is already driving, but you'll feel the difference a lot more. Like if the pedal's passing more low end to the amp, it'll start sounding flubby. And if it's got less, like a tube screamer, it just takes all that low end off, then it just tightens up, that sort of thing. And if the mids are pushing, you'll kind of get this region to like sing a little bit. And the thing is, it's not even that much gain, to get it to sing. So like even if I pick lightly, you'll kind of hear that. But if I hit hard, you can get it to bark. So then you kind of get that expressiveness in the... That sort of thing. How are you guys doing today? I hope everyone's chilling out, enjoying the Christmas weekend. It's almost the end of another year, which is kind of incredible how quickly this one's gone by. Wistful music for the passing of the year. I got a whole bunch of backing tracks, very nice ones, the ones I was using. There's this guitar player called Jeff McErlain, MCERLAIN, and he had a bunch of these backing tracks that he posted over one of his last videos, so I downloaded it, and they're really cool. It's basically a live band jamming, so you get to play along with that. So, check that out in case you want some material to jam over. Can I play some other guitar from the rack for a change? Okay, I guess you don't like the Les Paul. Cool. We'll pull out. Let's see. Let's do the 335. It's been a while since I played that. Oh shit! This one's way out of tune. One sec. We need to tune the brother. One sec. Where is it? Tuner. Oh, there we go. Oh, jeez. You can tell it's been a while I've played this guitar, because if I don't play it, it just drifts way out of tune. It's usually that. Now the whole thing's out. Come on. We can do this. Hey, come on. This is how professional I am, tuning live on a live stream. Okay, I think we should have some. The only thing is this guitar's a bit noisy, but how has the year been for me? It's had its ups and downs. Overall, I think everyone's still alive and well, so I guess that's something to be grateful for. Have I tried the bass six? I did actually briefly once. There's a lot of that used on Beatles stuff. If you listen to the bass on Helter Skelter, for example, that's John playing the bass six. And they use that, I think, probably even on, if you see this live video of Hey Jude, you can see George with one. So I think they had one that they would pass around, you know, like a, never mind. So let's see, what can we play with this? This guitar's got really beautiful P90 pickups played by my friend Mr. Glynn. So let me see if I can, let's play some, what's this? Shuffle Blues in C. It's good fun, right? It's kind of got this really nice singing, very vocal kind of a sound. Let's see, what have we got here? The tone sounds good. Awesome. I'm glad it's coming through nicely there. Merry Christmas to everyone in advance. Yeah, you probably get the Christmas and the New Year probably earlier than everyone else because you're kind of 12 hours ahead of GMT. So yeah, a Merry Christmas in advance to everyone. And if you're in the States, it's probably a day earlier. But 335, yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. It's always been on my radar due to like Larry Carlton, Eric Clapton, all those guys got great sounds from a 335. So this is actually closer to an ES330 because it's now got P90s. The thing is, I kind of had to justify keeping this guitar because I had a Les Paul and an SG both with humbuckers. So I said, it'd be nice to have a slightly different pickup on this. And my friend Mr. Glynn, who's an amazing pickup maker here in New Zealand, he wound these humbucker-sized P90s. So you don't have to change anything. They just slot right in where the humbuckers came out. And the only thing is they are not noise cancelling. So there's plenty of that single coil noise going on. Do I know that John Mayer guess just feel like tone? No, I do not know that. I'm not really that up to date on I listen to a lot of his stuff. I haven't really bothered figuring out the guitar bits, though there's some really cool guitar stuff in there. What am I missing? Someone posted a question and then it went away, so sorry if you missed that. You can post it again and I will have a look. Rishabh says, waiting to see you at the Oddball Festival. Yeah, so that's the cool thing. We are going to be playing a bunch of gigs in India in Feb. Starting with Bangalore on the 18th of Feb, Delhi on the 19th, and then a couple of weeks later we are doing Bombay and Pune, which I still have to lock into place the exact dates. So as soon as that's confirmed, I will announce those. And we're also working on a gig in Chennai, if possible, if that comes through, and hoping that something in Calcutta can happen. The only issue is Calcutta is kind of on the other end of the country, so flights from Bombay to Calcutta become a bit expensive. So let's cross the fingers and hope that happens. Bangalore, yeah, Bangalore is the first gig that's on the 18th of Feb. So if you're around, I posted a link to tickets on my Instagram thing and on the Facebook one as well. So you can check either of the two and come along. It'll be cool because we're also playing along with Sanjeev Thomas, who used to play with A.R. Rahman. He's got this cool project called ST. And we've got Bloodywood on that same day, and the headliners are the Aristocrats. So basically, going to see Guthrie Govan if you come to the gig. How about that? That's pretty awesome, right? Never thought I'll get to open for him one day, but that's awesome. So, yeah. The Mumbai gig should probably be, I think, the first weekend of March. That is when we are looking at scheduling that, which is kind of, it should be happening. Hasn't been confirmed yet. So Bombay, Pune that weekend, and then Chennai, like I said, maybe Hyderabad if it can happen. So Chennai, Hyderabad, and Calcutta are like 50-50. If they happen, they happen. Rishabh says he's been hooked to Out of the Ether. Would love to hear it. Yeah, we'll see if we can play that one because there's a whole bunch of. There's actually 16 new tracks on the last album, right, which haven't been played live. So I kind of have to do some homework on that. Wanted to know what advice you have for stage fear, nervousness while playing before, and making mistakes. Well, the thing is, you are going to make mistakes at some point, so you kind of have to, get used to the fact that that will happen. And what then makes a difference? Even the pros make mistakes, but what separates the pros from the mortals is that the pros recover really quickly, and they play something awesome right after that, which makes you, forget that you ever heard a mistake. So, what I found is useful, I think I may have answered this question in the past, is to get over the idea that the people in the audience are judging you and, waiting for you to make a mistake. They're there to support you and they're there to have a good time. So if you can, vibe off that energy, just the support from the audience, that should carry you through. And also, the musicians that are on stage playing with you, they are there to, have a conversation, in that sense. You're not like, you're I am and these guys are just watching, when is he going to make a mistake? So, both the players, the musicians on stage and the audience, they're there to support you. So just make the most of that. And if you do make a mistake, that's cool. Brush it off. I've seen a video with Clapton makes this huge mistake and he just shrugs and he moves on from it. Let's see, what can we play? Let's see, a slow blues in E. Let's check that out. Oh, that's really so. 1, 2, 3, 4. A slow blues is a really good workout for um, getting your time, because if you tend to rush, you have to learn how to breathe and play that. Because if you rush, it sounds horrible. So you have to really get into it and really take your time with the notes and build up on it. Let's see. Ode to a Sunny Day is Ode to a Sunny Day is your all-time favorite song. Can I please play some part for it? Sure. Let me just put that booster off so I can get it to clean up a bit. So this is kind of how it goes. Now this chord is basically just like a D with your thumb on top of holding the F sharp. So you kind of go with this G major kind of thing, but the finger thing is kind of interesting because you have to keep this ring finger on the D note at all time. That doesn't change. So you have this shape here. Then you have this shape, which is D, and you have this, which is a common thing to all the chords. This is just your E minor with your seventh. That's pretty much it. And then the outro thing has this. Which is actually my favorite part of the whole song. Like it's pretty like a heavy emotional trip for most of it, but then you get this lighter thing at the end. That sort of thing. So it's basically got three major parts in the whole song. If I could give you a roadmap for learning guitar, well, it depends on each person's thing. So there's no real one roadmap. But I'll tell you things that you really need to know. You need to know your major scale in all 12 keys all across the neck. That's really going to be you know, helpful. And not just like this. I mean, like everywhere. And then okay. Warren Saw looks like a cute bro. You've got the same line every chat. I think I should buy you a teddy bear. Then you'll be happy. P90s today. Yeah, I was playing the Les Paul earlier, and then someone said, "Can you please play a different guitar for a change?" So I was like, "Okay, we can do that." Any resolutions that I like in particular? Yeah, I'll show you one. This is in C. So you've got like an F minor 6 to a C. You can even do this F minor 6, change the root to a G, and then see this. That sort of thing. Anyway, coming back to your roadmap, apart from the major scales, you need to know your triads. So, like, you take your C major triad and you go, and same here. Then you do your minor triads everywhere. So, A minor, and same here. I'm just doing it on 3 strings. You can split. You can take any 3 strings. You can even do it like this. Just split the triads. So the triads again are really important. You need to have a good sense of rhythm, and anything you play needs to have that groove. Otherwise, it's gonna not sound as good as it could. So try those 3 things for a start. Looking forward to playing along with the Aristocrats. I think we're playing before them, not along with them. That would be kind of chaotic, 2 bands playing at the same time. But I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, it'll be pretty cool. Have I met Guthrie yet? No, I haven't met him yet. I first came across him, when I used to buy those guitar magazines from the UK. I used to buy them from the Radiwala, which is the used bookstore, and I would see articles by Guthrie in them, and even then it was like pretty scary. Some of the stuff that he was teaching. So yeah, that's kind of like first. And then they would have these CDs that came along with the magazine, and then I think he had played some of the lessons and stuff. That's why I kind of heard him. And then his first album came out, the one with the erotic cakes. I think that was the first full length album I heard of his. How to pick single notes or play lead immediately after strumming. So what you could do is practice. Something like that, try that. Where did I do my engineering from? I didn't really complete my engineering. It was a college in New Bombay. I don't even remember the proper name. It was like some long ass name. But I didn't attend much. I used to go bunk college and go to St. Xavier's where all my other friends were. I ended up attending more classes at St. Xavier's than my own college. The Radiohead creep resolution going from the major root to the 7th to the borrowed minor is possibly your favorite. Or you mean the... They got sued for that, there's a song called In the Air, no, or The Air That I Breathe or something like that. And there was one line, at the end where it goes, da, 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 something like that. They said that he stole it from that song and they got sued. Check that out. Radiohead creep lawsuit. It's quite interesting. You want to hear how I came up with melody ideas? Do I write the chords first and then look into them, or the other way around? Well, actually both. So, in the case of this one, I had the melody first and then I I put the chord changes for More Than a Feeling by Boston. So you kind of try and get chords that work with each note. Let's look at this. Now this note, this is where you drop the A chord, it will be the major third of that A, so it works really well. Now when you come back to the E, you could even do E A E B. You could do that. Oh, you could do like an F minor 7. But it doesn't really have the gravity of, you kind of get a little bit of the darkness and then the resolution. And again, this note, the E flat, is the major third of that B. So you kind of it works really well if you can get the thirds to line up. There's one. There's your minor third. So I'm actually catching the thirds on 3 of those chords, which is why it does sound pretty cool. That's one example. And then there's also things like where I just take moving triads, like, and the whole song is kind of just got that bit. And then I change the root notes. Something like that. So there's a few different ways that you could do it. You don't really have to stick to one. It's like, do you eat South Indian every day? Do you eat, you kind of like some variety. So the more ways you have of doing it, it works out better in that sense. Which is a good digital amp that I would suggest. I use the Katana 100, and that little thing for, like, if I'm teaching or I'm playing a small gig where you don't want to lug the whole thing, or sometimes like parking's a problem, like where you got to park a bit far from the venue, and then obviously you don't want to like go from your car to the venue and carry like a Marshall head in a 2x12 cabinet. So for those sort of things, that Katana is a pretty useful thing. I kind of dialed in a few patches, and I there's a setting for the line out that I changed. I think it had a different mic, and I changed it to a 57, which is kind of what I'm used to, and then it sounded pretty nice. Um, Music lawsuits are absolutely stupid. Well, no, if you actually early Bollywood needs like a ton of lawsuits because some of the rip-offs were like pretty blatant. But sometimes it's warranted and sometimes it's not. So, uh, Peace of Mind and More Than a Feeling are basically the same song. Well, yeah, though actually you don't have that, uh, thing just before the solo in More Than a Feeling is really cool. Like, I see that Marianne walking away. I love that part. Boom, 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 boom. And then when the solo comes, and you just get that lift off, which is pretty awesome. Can I explain my signal chain and how I live stream audio? I'm using OBS, yes, and I use a software called Loopback that takes the output of my sound interface and sends it directly into OBS. So whatever I'm hearing on my headphones is going into OBS and streaming across to you. So it works pretty well. So OBS and Loopback in tandem together. Am I still selling guitars? No, not really. I mean, I've got a bunch of them in New Zealand, but I don't think you could buy it from me unless you're here. Can I play One of These Nights by the Eagles? Yeah, go to my, I think it's on the YouTube channel. Sorry, not YouTube, on Facebook and on Instagram. I did a cover of both of that. I got the sound pretty close. I used the Sir Bella. I turned it up to where it started driving, and then I hit it with a treble booster, which kind of like made it fuzz up and everything. But if I play like copyrighted shit on these live streams, it gets into trouble, and they want me to take out chunks of the live stream and everything. So I'm kind of avoiding doing the whole the cover scene on this. Whole Lotta Love, so in the end, no. Do I still feel nervous when performing live? It depends. If I'm not really used to the material, then there is a bit of nervousness that creeps in, and then hopefully I've made good charts that I can refer to if need be. Do How do I prefer traveling with the guitar? Ideally in a soft case. I've used this gig bag that they started coming up with, I think, 10 years back, and that case has lasted a very long time. So preferably if they allow the guitar as cabin baggage, I always check with the airline first, because some airlines like Singapore Airlines, they do not let you use that at all. So then you have to use a hard case. And the one I use is called the SKV I66 Pro. That's a really good case. That's held up pretty well as well. Um, in the context of newer lawsuits, yeah, I mean the one I think that set the precedent was that Blurred Lines one, where the Marvin Gaye thing got in, and I think Ed Sheeran got sued as well, which is the case is still going on. So have a look at Adam Neely's channel. There was something about the history of music copyright, which is kind of interesting if you like watching that sort of thing. How do I chase the Pink Floyd breathe tone? You'd kind of want an amp that's slightly breaking up, a Strat and a Univibe, and usually for the Floyd stuff, they would record it in big rooms and mic the room as well. That's where you'd hear the reverb from, or you would hear like a studio plate or a chamber reverb added later. I don't think they were using reverb pedals, on that stuff then. Maybe they had an echoplex in front of the amp sometimes, but you can't really hear that echo there. It's more like that. If you look at the that book that Gilmore's Tech wrote, Phil Taylor, on the Black Strat, there's a picture of him recording this one. That riff in the big room of Abbey Road, which is Studio One, where they would record the orchestra. So they put the amps at one end of the room, and I think he also had a Leslie speaker turning, not a Univibe by that time, and they mic'd it from like really far away, so they kind of got that room ambience. So it's as long as that vibe is in place, then it's like more important you get the right hand attack correctly than getting the exact sound and so on and so forth. All of jazz is based around performing standards. Well, that's where it came from, but I'm sure there's plenty of people not playing standards, so you can't really make generalizations and say all of it. There's some pretty original jazz music as well, which is not based on standards. What tone settings do I have for Bombay Rain? It was in my old HSS Strat, which the airline Air Canada lost. So that was what are the pickups? They were all Seamer Duncans. They were STK S1 single coils, and the humbucker was an Allen Holdsworth humbucker. I remember that. Then I had a Boss SD1 pedal with the level would have been all the way up, drive would have been around 11 o'clock, and the tone, I don't know, either halfway or maybe just a little past that. Oh, sorry, tone would have been around 11 o'clock. But the thing is, it was hitting an already distorting JCM 800. So that amp was already breaking up, and the pedal was just hitting, the amp harder rather than generating all the distortion from the pedal. And then there was a stereo delay where I think quarter note and a dotted eighth on the other side, and a bit of reverb, and that was it. Nothing very complicated. But again, you'd probably be better off chasing like how to hit the strings with your right hand. Then kind of like I could get that sound with the Soldano as well. Do I still feel nervous while performing live? I think I answered that. Roto Vibe, no, the Univibe is a slightly different thing. So the one I use is called the Drybell Vibe Machine. So that's a good one. The Helix has a pretty decent model of the Univibe, so you could love your music, Warren. It's perfect for recharging after a long day. I'm good, man. I mean, I'm glad it's therapeutic for you in that sense. My favorite Indian guitarists, well, there's a ton of them. Amit Datta, Ehsan Nurani, Saibal Basu. These are from the older generation. Mahesh Tanaikar. From the younger guys, Aranjoy Sarkar, Tajar, Junaid. I'll be forgetting a ton of them. Rhythm Show, Kosh Upadhyay, pretty amazing guitar players, man, in the country. So, you know, um, one of my all-time favorite tones is the tone in Anuva Sky. That again, that was the same rig. It was the HSS Strat, the SD1, and the JCM 800. How important is playing dynamics versus guitars for getting the tone that I want? Both are, I mean, the gear has to be open enough to let whatever I'm doing come through. Because if it's overtly compressed, then no matter how hard I hit, it's kind of all going to like be in like one pocket. But like, look at a sound like this, for example. If I'll add a little bit more volume from the guitar. Okay, so say this. It's kind of got the headroom to kind of bark when I hit hard, and then just purr when you play softly. On the other hand, if I want something like if I'm playing legato and stuff like that, I need a bit more gain. So then I kind of have something a bit more saturated, but it has to clean up well from just turning the guitar down. How was my first meeting with Amit Datta? It was many years ago. I don't remember exactly what went down, but I can tell you where it was. It was at Amit Saigal's house in Delhi. Um, Amit Saigal was a guy who ran a magazine called the Rock Street Journal, and he was like a very helpful guy in the scene, especially for setting up gigs in Delhi. He would really help you with that if he liked you. Luckily, he liked us, and then like his house was like a hang pad, and all the musicians would land up there, and we would have jams till late in the morning. So that's probably where I first met Amita. I think we probably had a jam as well. And then I saw him play with Skinny Ali when they came to Bombay. I think we were playing on the same gig, and they were playing Green Onions by no Green Onions, Green Earrings by Steely Dan, and he was just like going nuts on that solo. It was like wow. Um, do I know any Stray Cats? I used to kind of I had a short tenure in a rockabilly band, so I kind of learned some of that stuff, but I haven't played it in a very long time. So can I give a gear sneak peek? I don't really know yet what I'm gonna be using. I think uh, like in terms of rental amps, if they have the Mesa boogies, I'd probably ask for those. And if they don't, then probably a Fender Twin and a Marshall cab. And I may take my pedal board, my live board from here, which is on a Pedal Train Junior. So I'm still kind of putting that rig together. I do have a Synergy setup in India as well, which I use for the Zero gig. And I do have a Helix as well. So I guess between those three, one of those three setups will get used. Where do I usually purchase guitars from in India? I never really bought guitars in India, to be honest. I used to buy them when we used to go on tour, either Europe or America. Would bring them back with me. But there's a cool shop called Ishibashi in Japan, and they do ship to India, and they have some really cool deals. So in case you want to check that out, uh, show you some Stray Cat stuff if I can remember. I'm really sorry, I don't remember anything. I'll probably end up murdering most of it. Do I feel contented with where I've reached? No, man. I feel like a beginner every day, honestly. So I, try to make small amounts of progress. That's what keeps me motivated. Because if I try to like kind of revamp my entire playing style and learn some advanced shit too quickly, I won't end up using any of it. So I try to take a small idea or a small little phrase or a small little chord progression and kind of, play with that, see how much I can stretch it. I love like taking melodies which make my fingers move in non-guitar ways, like the usual guitar licks. Which that means if you're like listening to guitar players, you'll usually end up playing guitar licks. But if maybe listen to singers and try and listen to, like there was a Beatles song I was listening to called what's it called? And I Love Her. You just try playing that vocal line on guitar. It's very simple, but try playing it and get that to sound nice. Top three Beatles songs. How would I give you my top three favorite Beatles albums? So I'll probably pick Revolver and Abbey Road for sure. And then third one, what would that be? Sometimes it's the White Album, sometimes Rubber Soul. Uh, Magical Mystery Tour is a really cool album because it's got all those, you know, Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane and Hello Goodbye and all that stuff. I actually today I'd pick Magical Mystery Tour. How did I get to know Alan? Oh, I think Alan was playing with another band from Calcutta called Wise at the time, and they had a song on the Great Indian Rock compilation. I think number two it was. And then I think he used to post on GigPad or one of those online forums, and I think remember like you know messaging him online saying I really like that song that you guys did. What was my first electric guitar? God, it's an amazing story. So the first time I actually went electric was my old Hobner acoustic Hobner, and I bought a 100 rupee pickup from Hariba Vishwanath, and uh, that came with like a just a loose cord, and then I remember buying a jack, plug, and soldering it to that. And then my granddad had a Videocon two in one, like sound boombox or whatever you call it in those days, cassette player plus speakers, and it had a mic in. And I remember jacking the guitar in, and like the first time it was super loud, and it just fed back and. Woof. But then I would put headphones on and play along. And then finally, I think when I was how old was I? 17 or so, just out of school, my parents finally agreed to buy me an electric guitar, and that happened because I remember I lent that acoustic with the pickup to my friend Sid Kuto, and then he was running down the stairs with the guitar, and he fell and he broke the guitar. I told my parents, "Oh, my guitar's broken. I need another one." So they bought me this Hofner. It's a German guitar. It was made in the 60s. I think it's called a Galaxy, Galaxie, because now they're worth a lot of money. They're worth around like, I saw them going for like almost 2,000 or $3,000. And that was my first like proper electric guitar, right? And it was kind of shaped like a Strat, which was cool. It was sunburst, but the back of the neck was painted black and everything. And I always remember I wanted it to be a Strat, but it wasn't. That was like I should have just kept it and not try to dick around with it. So I ended up like doing all sorts of modifications with that guitar, and then I think I gave it to my brother, and then I think he lost it. So he paid 3,000 rupees at the time, and now it's worth almost $3,000, which is I should have kept it. um, so the Misa Boogie I normally ask for is the dual rectors. The You get them with a head and a 4x12 cab. So those I can kind of the power amp sections are somewhat decent. So if I was using the Synergy, I'd use the effects return on the Mesa Boogies. Can you see a guitar jam with Guthrie? I doubt Guthrie would want to play with a hack like me, boss. Like, who the fuck is this dude? Do I like playing covers or originals? Both. I mean, I don't know why it has to be a or thing. Play both and have fun. I mean, do you like pani puri or you like dai puri? Sometimes it's cool to do both. What inspired to create a rendition of Air Zindagi? Cold hard cash. We were hired to do a job in the studio. It's not like I woke up one day and said, let me do a cover of this song. No, it's like, come to the studio. What are we doing today? Oh, we're doing a cover of this Ilyaraja song. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got. And then you listen to the song. Okay, that's a nice song. What can we do to it? And how much time do we have? Very important. So I think we had like 4 or 5 hours because they had to put it out that evening or something. So we did like a really quick job. I think we had to dub Arijit that same evening. Any suggestion to get a cleaner tone when you try it with reverb and delay? The tone gets lost. I don't know. Make sure you got a good cable. I would say if something's getting lost, then you probably have a shit cable. I think somewhere. If you just go straight into the amp, you get a decent sound. And maybe try not putting the guitar volume and tone on full. Try turning the amp up first, and then slowly bring it up from the guitar. See if that helps. You do covers and get copyright strikes, and it pisses you off. Well, you're not entitled to do covers of other people's music. If you do it for your own enjoyment, and if you put it off and get copyright strikes, then well, you deal with it. Could I provide a quick run through of my song Anesthesia? Oh, that's a nice one. I'm glad you asked. Let me see. I can play my own songs. That doesn't really uh, make a difference. So let me see. Where is the song? Let me see. I hope I'm actually got the right guitar. Okay, so it's got the where are we? There should be a mixdown folder. Here we are. So this intro, what are we? So this bit over here is kind of cool. It's kind of say on C sharp, right? So you're playing. You're kind of doing these turnarounds. This is what's happening. The intro. Okay, now. Okay, now you're starting with the. So what key are we in? Actually, I think I should switch to the other guitar because I wrote this in E flat tuning. So let's say I'll probably use this guitar for the Black Star Pro. It is the one I use the most for all the gigs. Yeah, so this is kind of what's happening. Okay, so you're playing D, if you're tuned down a half step, that is. That's your G over B, and that's C9. So let's see what's going on now. Now F and G. So this is basically, I think, stemming from a jam I started doing on Instagram, these living room jams, these little videos. So this is the chord progression. D, G over B, C twice, and then you've got this. It's basically an F with the G string open. So it's like an F add 9. G. So if you look at it this, you're playing this D Mixolydian scale. Right? Now for this, F and G, you kind of have to switch to a C major scale. You know, so you can even use all your A minor pen. And then finally you go, just as A major brings it back into D. So I'm kind of flitting a little bit between two scales. D, like a D Mixolydian thing, and then like an A minor for those two chords. Later down the line, so again here we come back to those blues turnarounds, you know, which is it's like a D7 shape. You can do it anywhere across the neck, but that's kind of what's happening. It's like a D7 shape without the D in the root. There, and this is like the Cliff Notes version of breaking this down. Maybe I can do an in-depth one with the multi-track at a later point. Then we've kind of... It's harmonically pretty much the same thing, you know, just put a bunch of different layers. Can I play the telly? The telly's at my brother's house, so I don't have it with me. Does Bollywood pay a lot to guitar players? Depends which Bollywood and which guitar players. Again, there's a big range in what they pay. Big Muff is making noise. What could be wrong? Probably a loose connection. It's hard to diagnose noise problems remotely, I'm afraid. If it was in front of me, I'd tell you pretty quickly what's wrong with it. But it's not. Sorry. Anesthesia one is one of your favorite tracks from the album. Cool. I'm glad you like that one. Um, Please, could I play Blues for Gary or The Universe Has a Strange Sense of Humor? Well, I've played Blues for Gary on quite a few live streams before, but Universe is something I could do. Let's pop that. The booster on. And let's see what we have. Where is that song? Intro reminds me of this Doordarshan. There has to be the sound with that. Reminds me of. Never mind. It's been a while since I've played that song. It's cool. Uh-huh. It's a pretty fat sounding guitar for a Strat, also because it's got 11s and the tuning is down a half step. Daniel asks, can you please explain about the different types of tunings? That's a very vague question, Daniel. If you can ask me something a bit more specific about tuning, like what do you like about one tuning? If there's one tuning I would recommend someone tries an alternate one, try Open G. That's pretty cool because you still have your three strings. So you kind of tune the A string down to a whole step down to G, you tune the E string a whole step down to D, and you tune this high E string a whole step down uh, to D. So you get this open G chord, which is pretty cool. And you get a bunch of, some Zeppelin songs you can play that use that tuning. So just Google for open G tuning and just do one at a time. Don't like think about 3 million different tunings. You'll get very confused. So pick one. And if you would pick one, I think open G is a good one to get started with. Bombay Rain, please, sir. Oh, well, not right now. Black Hole would sound awesome. Yeah, I guess so. Let's see. We'll try that opening riff. Are hey kai? Black Hole? Hey kai? Black Hole? Are आजा नहीं Black Hole? Please forgive my hack slide playing. It's been a while since I've done that as well. Do I double track on my records? Yeah, quite a few times. Not usually if it's a rhythm thing, I double track pan them left and right so it leaves the center clear for the solo guitar. I very rarely double track the solo guitar. There's an exception though. There's one song called Interstellar Road Trip, and I remember I played the solo with a normal sound, and then I wanted to add this octafuzz. I was like, I'll learn the whole thing. I kind of improvised the whole solo, and I just learned the whole improvised solo and played it again with the octafuzz, and I kind of layered them. So if you listen to that song, you can kind of hear the whole solo double tracked. Universe Has a Strange Sense of Humor is the easiest Blackstad song for you to play guitar wise, where you can play the main themes. Yeah, it's pretty much based on the um, A minor chords, right? It's kind of like there's a few songs, Blackstad Blues songs, which use the chords to form the melodies. So and the whole thing is kind of based on like these F and G triads. So you're playing F, G, and then you play those two triads again with the A in the bass and the B in the bass. And that kind of loops over the whole solo section. What are the things that one should keep in mind while using slides? Intonation. it's playing in tune. Vibrato, um, where you slide in from and where you slide down from. Like, so suppose you've got this note like here, so you can slide like, or like a shorter one in, or you know what's a good thing is just like play a major scale on like one string. And if you're kind of looking at the frets as your markers, you kind of have to play directly over the fret, not like in between. Like normally you would fret in between the frets, right? But if you look at where the string makes contact with the fret, it's right over the fret. So the fret is now not in contact with the string, it's a slide, either the metal or the glass, which is now in contact with the string. So that takes the place of the fret, so you have to play directly above it. So then you start doing stuff like, right now the action's a bit low for me to play slide on this. I normally would play it on the SG with the action set up a little higher. That's kind of like my main slide guitar these days. Otherwise, I would just, probably in the early days, my action was high in any case. So I would be fine with playing slide. Do I know Kaustubh Dey from Kolkata? I'm afraid I do not. But I'm sure he's a good guitar player if he's Amita's student. How can you sound like a slide player without using one or the whammy bar? I don't know. Maybe wear a t-shirt that says I am a slide player, and then maybe people will believe you. What you could do though is like say you have that A note, right? So if you have there was a Jeff Beck tune I was playing on the last live stream, and he plays that on slide, and I was trying to do it without, so I was kind of bending into the notes. Forgot what was I playing? So I kind of use a combination of the whammy though. I mean, you can get some quite kind of nice slide thing. That sort of thing. Because like normally on a slide you'd play stuff like, so when you kind of go down, so you kind of you can bend into the, there's a few different ways of doing it, but you kind of have to you do it like lick by lick and see if that helps. You can fake it some way and then some way you can't. You are coming to watch us on the 19th of Feb. I'm guessing that's the Delhi gig, right? Cool. We will see you there, and we will play Bombay Rain for you on the 19th of Feb. We've got a 75-minute set, so kind of have to be a little judicious with the set list, because especially now there's 6 albums worth of material where I'm sure we cannot play everyone's favorite songs. So there's a few which we probably will have to put, like Anuva Sky and Ode to a Sunny Day and Bombay Rain, and but then I want to play some songs that we haven't played before as well. Apparently Annie Timmons didn't double track on his first 3 albums. Cool. Well, Jimmy Page double tracked on all the albums. PSP 12 inches will not be played because that's a Zero song, and we only play that with Zero, not with, because there's no one to sing it. So double tracking is kind of your bread and butter because you learn to play guitar to Metallica. Yeah, man. Hetfield's got like the tightest right hand, I think. Still probably for that style of guitar my favorite guitar player. It's like the right hand from hell. Even this other guy, Scott Ian from Anthrax, and Mustaine, of course. Lead Train, Swing, and Black Hole. Yeah, probably we'll put those because we kind of have to do a punchy set. So we'll put those. North Star as well, But from the newer stuff, I kind of want to play stuff like 11. I'll play a little bit of 11. So it's an interesting song. It's called Niaz.
But when I got close, you shouldn't go there because of the virus.
That's a good one to play. It's like all very you know controlled melodic lines. See you, random guy in the comments. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm probably going to be heading out soon as well. Uh, Indian Joe Satriani. That's a funny thing, I always found it funny that people would say, "Oh, that's the Indian something," almost like it was like a second-rate version or something. Because I'm not trying to be anyone else apart from myself. I tried to when I was learning to play. I tried to copy all my heroes, and I just ended up sounding like myself. So I was like, let's just run with that and try to be the best Warren I can. Any SEL stories that I remember fondly? I've never really worked with SEL, all three of them. But the first time I saw them in the studio, I think I was like a kid, and they were recording that song from that Nagesh Kukunur one. I'll show you something like that. Something Sawan or something like that, the lyrics went. So that was the first time I met all three of them. And then Ehsan and Loy used to come to Farad Wadia's studio where I used to work. And they were doing Dance Masti 3 and 4. So I got to work with them on that. That was good fun. And Shankar was producing an album for a singer called Malakshmi Iyer, who's an amazing singer. So he did some double booking. So he was working with SEL during the day, and then the only time he had is early in the morning. So he would drive past my house on the way to the studio. So he would pick me up from home at around 6 in the morning. We would get to the studio around 6:30. We would have breakfast, which was some fresh idlis and dosas and vadas and which would come from some place, all amazing stuff. And we would start recording at 7, and then we would be done by 11 o'clock. And 11 o'clock, he would go to the other studio. But that guy's a freak of nature. I've seen him do like some scary shit in the studio in terms of like, just it just comes out of him. He's like one of those people just filled with music. It just comes out, and it's amazing to watch. Someone like that who's just at like a top of their game. And he would do like the most incredible takes, and then he would do something even better, and then he would say, "Oh, which one do you like better?" And I would like, "Oh, they both sound good to me." That sort of thing. So working with him as a producer and as a singer, we used to nickname him Chalo Take, because that was his favorite line. He would just get behind the mic and say Chalo Take. Like some singers, they would like to warm up and make sure that their headphone mix is good and everything. He didn't care about that. He was like, "Oh, cool, let's take." And from the first take onwards, it was like pretty awesome. You will have to know about my tone and signal chain. Go and watch the studio tour in the YouTube videos. You'd get some like a long form rig rundown kind of a thing. My advice to wannabe guitar players, there is a video again on my YouTube channel called 10 Things I Wish I Knew When I Started Playing Guitar. I would advise you to watch that, and you'll get a bit better advice than I could do right now. Because I'm probably going to head off to bed. But before I go to bed, I have to wrap Christmas presents and put them under the tree. It's 10:24, so I've got till midnight to do all that. So I'm going to turn from your friendly neighborhood guitar player into Nia's dad. And do sellotape and the whole shebang. So yeah, man, thank you for tuning in today. Let me see if I can play you out with something nice, something I haven't played in a while. Sure, I think I'll pick this one. This is a cool song. Speaking of Nia, that's her when she was. She will count us in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and I will see you. Okay,
Hello.
Purnia shouting hello, Merry Christmas, everyone, and I'll see you next weekend. Probably do it on a Saturday as well instead of Sunday because if Christmas is Sunday, then New Year is Sunday, right? So we'll probably do like a last day of the year YouTube hang around the same time. Cool. Thanks for tuning in and see you guys. Bye bye.